Good evening, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Could I have somebody, well, let me ask first. Are there any changes to the agenda, Mr. Palvino?
Just want to update in the wording on 5.03, and you all have that. Yep.
Okay, can I have somebody move that?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 4-0-0. For our community members at home this evening, if anyone is interested in reaching out to the board, you can reach us at clerk@fulton.cnyric.org. In the event of an emergency and we have to evacuate the building, we're going to go out the back door behind Mr. Hendrickson, hopefully to the left, move as far away from the building as possible. If we need to, we could go through Mr. Superintendent Palvino's door right here. Would you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is nobody signed up for public forum this evening, so could I get somebody to move action 1.06 to approve the May 13th meeting minutes? Tim and
Second.
Lori. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 4-0-0. Action 1.07 to approve the May 21st special board meeting minutes. Could someone move that?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 4-0-0. Just a few dates to kind of put on your radar. We do have our policy meeting on May 28th. That is virtual. Wait, that says it's okay, it does say virtual.
Yep.
You should have gotten your self-board evaluation in Google Docs. If somebody did not receive that, please let Mrs. Trude know. Those do need to be into her by May 30th. We will be doing our board evaluations on June 10th after the meeting. We do have the district coherence site-based meeting, which is at 5 o'clock at the junior high on June 2nd. Is that Mr. Palvino, is that the big meeting where everybody's
It's bringing
involved?
the site-based teams from each of the schools together.
Okay, perfect. We have our regular board meeting on the 10th as well. And with that, I'm going to move us on over to the superintendent reports.
Alrighty, thank you. Well, I want to start off just by thanking all of our constituents for a successful budget process. It was long and very challenging. I believe we have a budget that really continues to support our kids and all of the things that we want to accomplish for all of you. And also thank you for supporting all the propositions as well. And again, this is the most exciting time. When I see a room full of kids at a board meeting, it's the best way to start a board meeting. This evening, we're going to be starting off with our Carlton Barrett proclamations. And Mr. Cahill and the Volney students are going to kick us off this evening. This is something we started, was last year our first year? Thank you for your efforts, and here we are in year 2. Sir.
Before I go to the microphone, I want to thank the board and Mr. Palvino for being a good partner in Carlton Barrett Day. We wouldn't have it without your support, and the mayor and the City of Fulton Common Council. So I know Mr. Palvino has been interested in community relations, and this undertaking has really been a partnership between the district and the city. So thanks very much, Brian, for all your support over the years. So we've got 5 or 6 students. I could have brought 20 or 30, but you folks got other business to take care of tonight. So we've got 5 or 6. If I could just soapbox for a second, as Mr. Hendrickson's heart rate quickens, if you like what you're hearing from the students, as much as Mrs. Zimmerman, I forgot to introduce you, my teammate, Mrs. Zimmerman in the back, we might like to take some credit for it. It's really Carlton Barrett's story that gets the credit, because they were inspired by him. So in the future, when we're looking at curriculum and content, maybe we shouldn't look so much at standards and checking boxes. Maybe we should be asking ourselves the question, is this inspiring content to these kids? And will it motivate them to produce a product like you'll be hearing from these kids tonight. So, because my involvement as far as what you're going to hear is really minimal. Little paragraph helping, a word here or there. These are kids speaking from the heart and about a person that really inspired them. So thank you so much for having us, and I'm proud of all of our kids, almost 40 fifth graders, but I'm super proud of these guys because as everybody knows, adults, public speaking is not everybody's favorite thing to do, biggest fear for a lot of adults, and here's some 11-year-olds that are ready to literally jump up on this box and let you hear what they have to say. So they have predetermined the order. I wasn't going to get involved in that. And, I was going to say one more thing. Maybe it'll come back to me later. So, who's going first? Don't make me pay.
Actually, Aiden was supposed to go first. But
Cash, you should say ladies first. That's what you should say. Yeah, ladies first. So.
Carlton Barrett was on Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944, and so was I. June 6, D-Day, 1944, I was there. I still remember the screams of terror, the soldiers in battle, my comrades, my brothers, screaming "Mama," and I was one of them, at only 18 years old. It was a cold morning on the English Channel. We were all among the 73,000 Americans in Higgins boats, ready to go fight the Nazis. The boats rocked back and forth while we played. That's when the first shot went out. We all jumped into the water. It was hard with our equipment on, but I managed. The men in front of me arrived at shore, some either taken out by shot or by stepping on landmines. I remember seeing my comrade Luke, just standing there with a missing leg. I was running to help him when I felt the shooting pain in my chest, and another ran up me. That's when I dropped down into the sand and realized that I'm probably going to die. All I could think about was my family. As I examined my fate, my eyes went blurry and I saw a figure running toward me in the distance. It was him, Carlton W. Barrett. He scooped me up and said, "You will be okay." Then he rushed me into a boat while someone else screamed for him. While trying to calm me, he placed me gently into an evacuation boat. We left, but I will never forget his name. Carlton W. Barrett. That was all I could think about. But he was my hero, and a hero to many others too. I was able to go home, have kids, 3 kids, Mark, Ellie, and Luke. I named Luke after my best friend, my comrade, my brother, who died right in front of me. The man I couldn't save. I was able to see him, my 3 kids grow up. Luke the oldest, Mark the middle child, and Ellie the youngest. They all grew up so fast, and I was able to witness all of their milestones, thanks to him. Carlton Barrett. First steps in the first words, mostly mama or dada. Now they're all grown up, and I'm blessed to have grandkids, all thanks to Carlton. This is my testament. He is my hero, and a hero to many others. He is the reason I'm still here, the reason I got to go home and experience life and grow a family. Thank you, Carlton W. Barrett.
I remembered what I forgot. They have 7 prompts to choose from for their writing piece. There's a first person that you were on Omaha Beach and you were saved by Carlton Barrett. What would you say? And I've had that prompt for probably 3 years now. No, for whatever reason, kids haven't picked it. This is the first year the kids have picked that prompt, and that's what Harper's perspective just was, and a few others tonight also have that perspective.
On D-Day, Carlton W. Barrett was one of 73,000 U.S. soldiers crossing the English
Channel to liberate Europe from the Nazis. When he landed at Omaha Beach, he was selfless and put other soldiers' lives instead of his own. Thinking of others is a good quality to have in 2025 because less and less people are helping each other now. Carlton William Barrett started fighting in World War II when he was around 20 years old. On June 6, 1944, during Operation Overlord, Carlton W. Barrett bravely risked his own life to save many fellow soldiers. Even though he was shot multiple times, it didn't stop him from helping others. On D-Day, he jumped in the water countless times to save soldiers. They were about to drown from all their heavy gear and boots. Barrett jumped in and saved everyone he could and set up a triage area for wounded soldiers. He was shot in both his hips and his leg. He declined medical care multiple times. On top of that, a mortar came close to Barrett while he was talking to his friend from boot camp. Unfortunately, his friend got hit and was killed. Although it did not hit Carlton Barrett, it almost blew off his foot. He then crawled into the surf and swam out to an evacuation boat, just like he helped all of the other soldiers that day. Private Barrett was very brave during D-Day, and he pushed through even though he was injured and wounded. Carlton Barrett later received the Medal of Honor. He kept saying that others deserved it more than him, and others should have received it instead of himself. He demonstrated to all of us what a true hero really is. That day, he showed us that he was brave, calm, and fearless. Carlton W. Barrett deserves to be remembered and should always be a part of the Fulton community. Carlton Barrett's actions should never be forgotten, and people should know his name and remember what he did for his fellow soldiers. He was a brave and humble person, and what he did was truly amazing. In 2025, it's very easy for kids and adults to tear each other down. The world would be a much better place if we followed Carlton Barrett's example and spent more time helping each other up.
Carlton W. Barrett was born on November 24, 1919, and started serving in the U.S. Army in October 1940. Nobody would expect this from him because he was a high school dropout. He attended Fulton City Schools for most of his life. Carlton Barrett's character traits are still important today because his actions save lives. Carlton W. Barrett was kind, compassionate, and very, very selfless. During Carlton Barrett's time, about 3 hours on Omaha Beach, he was a quick thinker but also a smart one. Carlton was shot in both sides of his hips, was shot in his thigh, his foot was nearly blown off, and was helping others in neck-deep water. Carlton didn't brag at any point in his life about what he did or how he did it. These character traits are just as important in 2025 because if everybody could be as kind, humble, and selfless, it would make life a little easier. Carlton W. Barrett rose up as a leader with these character traits and had a huge amount of bravery while doing it. He saved many lives while not thinking about his. That just proves his leadership during his time on Omaha Beach. One of the things I think that was really cool is that he was also from Fulton and lives on as a role model for the people in Fulton. And maybe, just maybe, if everybody could be as kind and humble as Carlton William Barrett, the world could be a better place.
Carlton Barrett and a life well lived. I was on Omaha Beach on June 6, 1944. The mission was codenamed Operation Overlord, later to be known as D-Day. It was the largest armada in military history. Our destination was the southern beaches of France. Our goal was to get rid of France and Europe of Nazi occupation, and brutally. As I ran out of the Higgins boat, we were met with a wall of steel bullets everywhere, mines in the sand, mortar rounds coming in. No training could prepare us for the chaos of Omaha Beach. I did not get very far up the beach when I was hit with a .50 caliber bullet shot from a Nazi pillbox. It felt like someone hit me in the shoulder with a sledgehammer. I still remember when I lay there helpless, thinking my time had come to go. But then out of thousands of people out there, Carlton W. Barrett picked me up and took me to medical triage area that he had set up, where I was treated by battlefield medics. I remember getting brought there, realizing I was safer than I was before. Although there were still people getting hurt by the minute, Carlton Barrett just kept on bringing people to the triage area and swam them out to evacuation boats.
Even though it was complete chaos, Carlton was still calm when he would see people getting blown up by mines. Soldiers were terrified, losing limbs because of mines and German machine gun fire. He was shot in both hips and in the thigh and refused medical treatment. Even when his best friend from boot camp was killed by a mortar that practically landed right in front of him, mortars explode and metal shards spray everywhere. They can cut or kill you. Carlton's foot almost got completely taken off by the mortar that killed his friend. Because Carlton W. Barrett saved me, my mom didn't receive the letter that more than 400,000 other moms received, telling them their sons were never coming home. Barrett's selflessness allowed me to come home and live a life, to get married to my wife and have kids, and see them be born. Their first steps meant everything to me. Hearing their first words, their first day of school, I still see the smile on my child's face when she started pre-K. The proms that she went to, all her birthday parties, when she graduated, had kids of her own, and all the vacations we went on. I mean, heck, Carlton let me and a bunch of other guys see those things. He allowed me to live a life and have the chance to experience all that life has to offer. I never saw Carlton Barrett after that longest day, but there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about him and how much myself, my wife, my children, my grandchildren, and my great-great-grandchildren owe that man. I hope that in his eyes, that my family and I learned the life his actions allowed us to live.
I lived a life thanks to Carlton W. Barrett. On June 6, 1944, I was one of the 73,000 Americans on the beaches of Normandy, France. I was brought in with other U.S. soldiers who were part of a 150,000-person armada that crossed the English Channel. Hitler and the Nazis had occupied Europe for almost 7 years, and landing on France's northern beaches was the goal of Operation Overlord. What was waiting for me on Omaha Beach is something I could never have imagined, not even in my worst nightmare. On D-Day, I was wounded by a landmine and it blew up my foot. I fell to the ground and thought I was going to die until he found me and said, "Are you hurt?" I was too hurt to speak, but I guess he took that as a yes and dragged me over to the triage area. Then he went to save more people, but as soon as they stopped my bleeding and stabilized me, he came back over and swam me out to the evacuation boat. Because he saved me that day, I got to live the best moments of my life, like marriage, having my first kid, my kid's first steps, first day of kindergarten, high school graduation, college graduation, and lots more. At the time, I didn't know his name, but when I got home and turned on my television, and there he was, the man who saved my life on TV, getting awarded the Medal of Honor. All I could think of in that moment was I'd never seen anyone more deserving in my life. Carlton Barrett saved my life that day and gave me the opportunity to have a wife, have kids, and an amazing rest of my life. I will forever be grateful for all that Carlton Barrett has sacrificed for me and all of the other people he saved that day.
Savior on Omaha Beach. On June 6, 1944, World War II had been raging in Europe for almost 6 years, and the Nazis had occupied France for 4 years. On the morning of June 6, Operation Overlord put Private Carlton W. Barrett on Higgins' boat along with 73,000 other Allied soldiers. Of these tens of thousands of soldiers, Barrett was one of 3 men to earn the Medal of Honor on Omaha Beach. I feel like there should be a statue of Carlton W. Barrett in Fulton because he has saved many people's lives while risking his own on that day. One reason he deserves a statue is he had to swim in neck-deep water carrying full-grown men, knowing that there were bullets everywhere and he could get shot. He did get shot, in the thigh and 2 times in the hips. Carlton W. Barrett did not give up at all on June 6, 1944. Not thinking about his own life, he swam ashore countless times to save lives. He also set up a triage area where medics could stabilize the wounded. Once stabilized, Barrett would swim the wounded out to evacuation boats. When someone says get down, we probably would get down. So did Carlton W. Barrett. Luckily, he did in time and almost had his foot blown off when a mortar came flying at him. Right next to him, he saw his best friend from boot camp that he ran into on the beach. When Private Barrett picked up his head out of the sand, his friend was laying there dead. Barrett crawled back into the surf and made it to an evacuation boat. Carlton Barrett wasn't screaming that day. He was calm, and he also made people calm. Carlton W. Barrett was 5'2", 125 pounds, and only 25 years old when he went onto the shore of Omaha Beach on D-Day. Even though he was that small and young, he still saved people and gave them a chance to go home and live a life. Barrett was fearless and selfless on June 6, 1944, and I think a statue of him in the city of Fulton would be a fitting tribute of his actions on Omaha Beach.
That's everybody.
That's all of our students. Wow. I'm going to read in the proclamation, and then we're going to thank you because it was absolutely amazing. So all of your sharing this evening of your essays and the work and your studies you've done leads to this proclamation that we read every single year. At a meeting of the Fulton City School District Board of Education held on the 27th day of May 2025, the following resolution was entered into the record. Whereas native Fultonian Carlton W. Barrett, while serving in the U.S. Army during World War II, distinguished himself during one of the most important military battles of the 20th century, and whereas upon landing on Omaha Beach in the vicinity of St. Laurent-sur-Mer on June 6, 1944, during Operation Overlord, Private Barrett saved many lives, assisting drowning men to shore and evacuating wounded men to an evacuation boat in neck-deep water. And whereas Carlton Barrett returned to the surf with wounded men time and time again, ran messages up and down Omaha Beach, stopping only to give medical treatment and calm the shock, disregarding his personal safety, and while sustaining 3 gunshot wounds to the hips and thigh, only to be taken out of the battle after a 4th injury, a mortar wound to his foot. And whereas out of the 73,000 American troops to land on Normandy beaches on June 6, 1944, Private Barrett was one of 4 individuals awarded the Medal of Honor for acts of valor above and beyond the call of duty, being the only one to survive, to have the medal placed around his neck. And whereas Private Barrett, later to become Sergeant Barrett, would never speak of his actions that day, he humbly would only speak of the sacrifices of others, especially those who paid the ultimate sacrifice never to return home. And whereas Carlton Barrett, after recovering from his injuries, went on to serve his country for another 18 years in the U.S. Army after D-Day, continued to serve something bigger than himself, serving his country for a total of 23 years. And whereas in the year 2025, the Fulton City School District, Fulton, New York, concludes that recognizing Carlton W. Barrett for his actions on D-Day is an opportunity to educate the public on World War II, Operation Overlord, valor, selflessness, sacrifice, humility, the price of freedom, and those that paid the price with their lives. And now, therefore, it be resolved that in consideration of the aforementioned facts and events, the Fulton City School District does hereby proclaim every June 6th, or the following Monday, if on a weekend, to be forever recognized as Carlton W. Barrett Day, recognized and celebrated through events deemed appropriate by the Superintendent of Schools and the Board of Education. So I just want to thank our students for getting this started this evening. It was just absolutely amazing for you to share your words. And the first person was a very unique twist this year. It was really terrific. So I just want to commend our students and Mr. Cahill and Ms. Zimmerman for all of the work that you've been doing. And this spreads across all 6 schools. So thank you so much for your efforts on behalf of World War II and all of those individuals that sacrificed so that we could all be here today. So thank you.
Mr. Cahill, thank you so much and Ms. Zimmerman, for sharing your students and their essays with us. You guys put a lot of time into those essays, didn't you? You can tell. I liked as well, I was thinking the same thing. The first person, I got to share the day with you last year, and to hear the first person point of view, like, that puts it into a new perspective. So you guys did a great job, and we're still working on that statue, right? We heard about the statue last year, so we need to get the mayor in here so we can,
Mayor's all for it.
let's get going with that, right? No, thank you so much, students, for coming and speaking with us. I'll say it every time. Public speaking is so tough, and to see you guys come in here at such a young age It blows our mind up here, and we appreciate you coming in because we do what we do because of you guys. So thank you for sharing your talents with us.
Thank you so much.
I just want to say what a phenomenal job, and I love how you bring it to the way people should be today. And it brings tears to my eyes.
So Tim,
I have to talk to parents and get some ice cream, correct?
Ice cream, you're bringing ice cream in for us, Joe?
No, they're gonna go get ice cream, maybe it's public smoking, right?
well, I just want to extend my appreciation to our kids. This is my last Carlton Bear Day, but I'll be around. And this was this will be a memory that I carry with me. So thank you so much. And thank you to our families for being here this evening and sharing your kids with us each and every day. They're truly amazing. And as sixth graders, you just stood before the Board of Education of the Fulton City School District. I couldn't have done that when I was sixth grade. So congratulations on doing that this evening. So thank you so much for all your efforts.
Well, I'm gonna see you again on the 6th.
Oh yeah.
And I hope that we see other folks too, and public's invited, and more the merrier.
6 o'clock at the War Memorial?
At the War Memorial.
On Friday night.
On the Dream Courts.
On the Dream
On
Courts.
the Dream Courts.
Perfect.
If it's raining, there's a gym inside the War Memorial, we'll be in there.
Thank you for reminding us.
Speaking of public speaking, Mrs. Hendrickson, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. For Director, Humanities here. I see a lot of portrait of a graduate here, especially is there any way, I know we're not technically at that 7th, 8th grade level, to incorporate what these students have done here for our seal of civic readiness, or to be able to go on and adapt these things even though years down the road into achieving that, because I feel like right here, community, service, all of these things tie into exactly what we're trying to get out of that. So I didn't know if we, working on that, if we're tying that in at all, but I see the connections in my head and all the hard work that's been done here, and I feel like if that's what we're shooting for, we have to figure out a way to incorporate that.
That is actually a great segue. Actually, Colony, next week, there's a group of 6th graders there who are going to be presenting a pilot junior seal civic readiness with the safety patrol. Mrs. Stoddard has arranged for Mr. Pasillo, myself, Mrs. Jacobone, and Mrs. Rodriguez to come over and the elementary principal to observe them. We're trying to think of a way to get the ball rolling with earning the points and bringing awareness to the seal of civic readiness. The points wouldn't go towards the actual pathway, but I think we could set that framework down for the students. And we're working on doing projects starting even in kindergarten to bring awareness to civic readiness. So we have it in the works.
Yeah.
Again, thank you parents too for bringing your students tonight and sharing them with us. This is what makes it worth doing what we're doing, and we know they wouldn't be able to do it without you. So thank you everybody again. I'm doing another round of applause because you deserve it.
Very good. Well, thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you, everybody. Yes, it's
Bye,
awesome.
Jalen.
Thank you so much. Future 6th grader right there. There you go.
Starting them young, Mr.
Yes, we
Palvino.
are. Earlier the better. Alrighty. Well, the second presentation we have, we're just going full bore about kids tonight. This is all the work we do is to come back to these types of events. So you heard really something aligns with our seal of civic readiness and Port of Graduate. You're going to hear more and more about that down the road, but this is the type of project that's going to lead us to the opportunities for our kids with the portrait of a graduate. The next is our Road to Success Career Exploration Fair. This is for Lido. And this goes really to our commitment to starting as early as pre-K and kindergarten, really talking about the future and getting our kids to really frame their educational experiences. And I think you're going to see more and more of that with opportunities that we're providing for hands-on learning, but more importantly, how does this connect to what I want to do well beyond the world of G. Ray Bobley High School when we graduate. So, Ms. Berlito, if you'd like to share, and I see we've got some friends with you as well.
I would have had more, but some kids have to work, so I had 2 students that were going to come that said, Mrs. Berlito, I can't go shit. It's okay.
I have the slides, Mrs. Ferlito, so let me know when you want me to move ahead, okay.
So, good evening, Mr. Filipino, Board of Education, Executive Directors, and Mr. Hani. Well, you welcome. And I'm really happy to be here this evening to be able to present kind of almost the culmination of my career here at Fulton City School District, which I don't know, it's tough to follow those kids because that was just unbelievably amazing. So, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to continue to build upon this in the future, and with the Seal of Civic Readiness and the Portrait of a Graduate, our kids are going to do great things. So to get started, last week on May 20th, we hosted at the junior high and at the high school 28 different vendors. We also had 7 trade unions, we had the police, we had the fire department, we had EMTs, we had the border patrol, we had all 5 branches of the military, and we had the opportunity for almost 1,500 kids to go through from 6th grade through 12th grade to see everything that the city of Fulton and surrounding areas has to offer. So it was a really great experience. We had a hands-on portion outside at G. Ray Bodley, and then we had at the junior high and at G. Ray inside we had vendors as well. So it was divided into 3 different locations, and from 9 to 2 on the 20th, and it was a great day, I think, for all involved, and hopefully all of our hard work did pay off, and we got a lot of positive feedback from all the people involved, the vendors as well as the faculty and staff, and especially the students. So, and that's what we're here for. So. This is G. Ray Bodley, and we have this in the Library Media Center. And these are just a few of the pathways that we had represented at this year's fair. We definitely were looking at early college, high school. We looked at the healthcare field. So we had nurses, we had CNY AHEC came in and showed us simulations of medics, talking about the Memorial Day. And they did ultrasounds, and this was all simulations, and the kids loved them. We also had a meteorologist from Channel 5 came, and a physical therapist from a local PT organization. We had bankers, we had people in clean energy, and for the first time this year, we had people from the arts come in, because students last year said that's what we were looking for, was the opportunity for kids who would like to pursue fields, careers related to the arts. So we had, and I'll show you as we go through the slide deck, some of the things that we had. And before we go any further, I would like to introduce Alejandro Rodriguez, who is our Student Senate President this year, and he has done a phenomenal job in that field, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, so, but also in helping to coordinate students to serve as ambassadors for this career fair this year. So Ali, how many kids did we have helping out?
About between 20 to 30 kids.
Yeah, between the junior high and GRB. What kinds of things did you work on to help out?
I was your runner. I went around and made sure everyone had water. I made sure everyone knew where they needed to go. I helped people with parking. I helped people get whatever displays they had set up. I got chairs, tables. I came back around during lunchtime with food, water, coffee, and
It's a lot. And because we were in 2 different locations, they were lacking something at the junior high, so we're like, Ali, can you send a runner to the junior high and bring another tablecloth or whatever it happened to be? But It worked out pretty well, and I think the kids could all tell you how that, made them feel to be able to host all of those businesses and organizations in our buildings. It was pretty awesome, I thought. We got a lot of really good feedback from that. And inside and outside, it was pretty cool. Anything else you'd like to add? Okay. We'll think of something as we get moving along.
So it sounds like you incorporated kids into the planning and really the active piece.
Absolutely.
Which is terrific.
Yeah, they're leaders, so we put them in those leadership roles and asked, what can you do, what needs to be done? They made to-do lists and divided up the chores and got it all done, got all the advertising out.
To send out to
Yes,
the kids.
helped make surveys, so they used their technology skills to do that. And also the slide deck and everything that goes along with it, so thank you very much. Next slide, I think. So first time, like I said, this year, we had people our person from the Everson come down to talk about museum curation and all of the behind the scenes things that go along with having a large museum like the Everson. And the kids were really interested in that. I was very surprised at the feedback, how many kids actually were interested in museum and art curation and the CNY arts that we have. So we have a lot of kids that are involved in that. And then also the Rev, and I know we have productions that come into the district from the Rev, and they were wonderful talking to kids about all of the behind the scenes things that our kids could do, not just the acting or the singing and the performance part of it, but the set creation and all of the planning that goes on behind the scenes. So a lot of our kids were, it opened their eyes, I think, to a lot of other possibilities for them. And we had one issue which wasn't so bad, but one of our kids' favorite things from last year was the heavy equipment operation, where we had forklifts and payloaders and all kinds of big equipment there last year, where the kids could get in with an instructor and actually lift things up and move them around, and they had little competitions. Well, the instructor woke up in the morning with a bad stomach bug. So his partner, who was in the picture on the left there, she told him that absolutely under no way could he come. He wanted to still come, and she's like, you are not getting hundreds of kids sick with the stomach bug. So she wouldn't let him come. So she brought the simulation instead. Not the same thing, but we still had a lot of kids try it out, and they, how they love their video games and their simulations. So it went over really well. And we do have quite a few kids that want to get into heavy equipment operation and things of that nature. So it was great that she was able to come with that, even though we couldn't have all of the pieces of equipment that we had last year. And then we also had the simulations from CNY AHEC, which is the, oh boy, I don't know this acronym, Central New York Association of Health Educational something, coalition, I don't know. Which they are the ones that have the 3 different simulations, the CPR, the ultrasound, and then the medic situations. So I'm not sure, Jace was one of the students that was supposed to be here this evening that had to work in state, but he was talking about how much fun it was to try to troubleshoot and figure out how to how to serve someone that was injured and how to take care of them in the medic tent. So that's what he's doing in that picture there. So it was pretty fun for the kids to do that. And then at the same table, and I haven't really figured out how this all relates, but she was having them carve teeth out of bars of soap. For what reason, I have no idea. Did you make it too?
I did.
I don't know the why of it, but the kids love doing it. So she had all these little bars of soap and they were carving away. But
perhaps the dental field? Perhaps?
Perhaps. Soap teeth?
Soap teeth.
I don't know, but it was fun anyway. I watched some of the creations that the kids came up with. So. We also, as always, have our banking and finance people there. And they're great because they bring some swag with them, and they have the kids answering questions that deal with banking and finance, and then they win prizes. So naturally, all the kids were going to that booth because they could take a chance and win a prize. And for the first time, we had an architect, because last year there were students who wanted to get into architecture that maybe are in our CAD classes, our DDP classes at the high school now. And so it was really interesting to see the kids come over and look through the blueprints and say, oh, I've seen this, Mr. Perry showed us how to do whatever. So that was very interesting to see, and the students were intrigued, I think, at the level of complexity of some of the blueprints that they looked at, and the schooling and all of the technical skills that are involved with getting into architecture. And of course, one of the most fun things that the kids do is all of the physical activities with all the branches of the military. And we had the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, the National Guard, and we also had Border Patrol for the first time here this year. And the kids were lifting, and they were doing, having push-up competitions, and were on the right, the sailor that was here, he had some of the most amazing stories, and the kids just loved listening to all of his stories about life on the sea. And then on the left, the Army, they had these giant weights, and the kids had to lift weights, and they had competitions there. So that was something that always goes over well with the kids. And we do have quite a few seniors that are interested in possibly going into the military, or who have already committed to the military at this point. So it was a time when they could touch base with some of the recruiters and talk to other students about their next steps, things like that. So this was a great table. We had the Border Patrol and the police talked with me, called me and said, would it be possible to get, they couldn't bring the dog for the police, but they brought some of their tech equipment that they use, and they had a drone, and they had the drone up in the air. And then the other agent from the US Border Patrol, he had all of these like night vision goggles and all the equipment and things that they wear. And so many kids tried everything on and had questions because, of everything that you're seeing and hearing about. And he was amazingly informative and helped all of the kids understand what their job actually is. And he was out of Oswego, so they're right near Lake Ontario, where he was from. So they just watch for people coming in with any contraband from the lake and that sort of thing. So that's, I think, that one. And this is always one of the big sellers of the day is the Tractor Trailer Association of New York. They come in with a simulation that allows kids to get in, upperclassmen, to get in and try their hand at maneuvering an 18-wheeler. And they have to park it, and they have to move it around. And it's amazing how many kids think they go in there thinking that they're going to be able to do this. Oh, it can't be that difficult. And then 2 minutes later, they're opening the door, coming back out saying, no, I didn't make it a quarter of a mile down the road and I crashed. So, but it's funny, at the end of the day, they always say, oh, we have, 4 or 5 kids that have potential in this, that they picked it right up right away and they paid attention to the directions. And so, it'll be interesting to see over the next few years how many of our graduates go into get their CDL licenses and drive tractor trailer, possibly. And then, of course, we have all of the trades were there outside with their hands on. We had the kids that were practicing with the carpenter. They were drilling, and they were having nail pounding competitions. what I loved is the plumber, he said to me, because I told him last year, I said, we really need to work on kids, you know, looking at fractions and percentages and changing, you know, fractions to decimals and, you know, the simple mathematical things. And so he brought a tape measure this time and he's like, okay, what is this measurement? And then he said, what would it be as a decimal? And I'm walking by and he said, I'm taking your, following your lead. And he said, I even told the pie example, which I was saying, you know, a pie divided into 4, each one is a quarter, and relating it to there's 4 quarters and $1. And he's like, I never thought of that, I'm stealing that. I'm like, good, please, you know. So anyway, all of the trades were there, and they enjoy working with the kids and getting them to complete circuits or to run wire or whatever it happens to be. We had, the iron workers were there, and they were talking about life and, you know, on the top of a skyscraper in New York City with all the, you know, the people that are up thousands of feet, hundreds of feet in the air, and how difficult that is and how important safety is. And so they all had that same theme about safety. So it was pretty interesting. And then, of course, Mentor is always one of our greatest supporters, and they were there with a lot of info and allowed kids to work on CPR, and we've talked about maybe having them come in and offer CPR to the high school kids. I know it used to be a requirement years ago, I believe, for them to get CPR in their health class or something, but I don't.
Still is.
Is it still? Okay, so they should all have it, but, so we'll see. So anyway, that was something that we were gonna talk about, trying to put together another, like a CPR class for whoever needs to get certified or recertified soon. So that's that. Next, this is, I just put in a little bit of feedback here from this year's career fair. I just asked what vendors they were interested in, and you can see it's all across the board. But one of the main, I was surprised, not really, to see that YouthWorks and Oswego County Opportunities had so many students. I was making copies for them of our summer youth employment applications because they hire a lot of our kids in the summer. So the fact that kids were going to them in droves and picking up applications was, you know, it was a great feeling for me because that partnership has grown over the years. So I'm pleased with the way things are working out. And Oswego County Opportunities, again, they look at barriers to employment, and our kids have barriers such as the inability to get to work. They don't have a vehicle, or they don't take driving lessons or driver's ed. So there are possibilities there that they can take a driver's or driving lessons through Oswego County Opportunities. And then they also have a vehicle to take the driver's test on once the lessons are finished. So that's a really good thing that they do as well. And they also help kids place kids in internships and shadowing opportunities around the area too. So the military, again, no surprise. Police, no surprise. Border Patrol is new, so I figured they would probably like that. And healthcare, of course, is always important. There's always a lot of students that are involved that want to go into some form of healthcare. So they could select more than one, so that's a good day. Okay, next. For the future, I asked, what would students like to see more of? And some of these things I tried, Laura tried to get in this year and have tried every year, but with short staffing, it's very difficult to get, like a vet. The kids want a veterinarian to come in. They're short staffed, they can't leave to spend the day with us even though they would want to. Lawyers, they're in court all the time. Forensics, you have to go so far away to get someone that could come in to do that. We did have a zookeeper this year. And childcare, the same thing. Everyone's so short-handed now that it's very difficult to get the small entrepreneurs in their own businesses to leave for a day to come in they try, but they could come in for an hour. They come in and talk to my classes or the English classes that I bring down to my room, but they can't come to an event like this. So the kids next year, they want to expand on what we're already doing. And some of them, didn't, for whatever reason, get the opportunity to attend. We tried to make it throughout the day so that they could come during their lunch or study hall or with a teacher. We tried to have it so that just, their social studies classes would all come down. And it's still a work in progress for that. Okay, next. Vendor responses, like I said, all positive, except the guys that were outside in the center there planned well with timing. Maybe next year give breaks to vendors throughout. They needed to, go in and use the facilities, and they were the only one at their table. So I said, well, next year you have to bring someone else with you so you can take turns. So that was really their only negative feedback, other than shorten it a little. I don't know how to shorten it and give everybody the opportunity to attend. We've done it 3 or 4 different ways since I've put these on, and this was the way last year that they said worked best, so that's why we just expanded this year with that. So I was really happy to see that 100% of our kids were attentive, engaged, and respectful. That wasn't a prompt, that was what they said. So, and then the other, another person said students were kind and willing to try activities, and then they used the Oculus headset, so that was the medic simulation that they did with the CPR simulation. So that was, they were good. I think the feedback was pretty good. Okay, so next. Some of the other things that weren't necessarily related to the day, but they're related to the activities that have happened throughout this year. We have had over 50 kids get their driving permits in the Career Exploration Center, and I added a couple more today. They just come in and they say, can I come in during my study hall and take it? And I give them all the application information. They come in and they take it. So it saves them the angst of having to go and stand in line at the DMV, and wait in line. And then if they don't pass, it's embarrassing and they have to come back. So we do have kids that take it several times, but we get them through it, and they're so proud and happy when they're finished. Also, I've taken 2 different groups to the Carpenters Training Center and the IBEW Training Center, and you'll see slides in a minute of that. And then Jace, who was supposed to be here tonight, he did a job shadowing opportunity with an attorney's office in town, and they let him go to city court and county court all in one day. He got the behind-the-scenes view of everything. He said it was the most amazing experience that he'd ever had. He was amazed that he was able to do that. So, so that's something that would be appropriate, hopefully, to continue in the future. And then the last but not least, the Future Educators Club that we had with the NYSET grant. That grant is over at this point, but we're finishing up this year with everything. And we've done, over the years, we've gone to SUNY Oswego, CCC, Lemoyne, SU. This year we went to Cortland, which was someplace different. We look at education programs around the area, and they get to talk with college professors, financial aid officers, students in the field. So the kids get a real good picture of what it's going to be like for them should they choose to continue. So, and we've done teacher turnabout days, I call them, at the elementary school, last week at the junior high, and then this Friday will be at the high school, where our future educators take over for the teacher for the day and try to present the lesson to their peers. And they learn quite a bit from going through that. These are some of the kids. Like I said, there are 50 plus that I've done this year, and I'm making a slide deck with everybody in it so that it can go on our TVs at the high school so they can see everyone, but I just put a few in so you could see. I make them, the mom and me makes them take their picture with their passing permit test. So they love it. No matter how many of them just kind of big face when I say, oh, you need to get in front of my tree and get your picture taken. They do it, no one ever balks at me, but, so I think it's a good opportunity for them to be able to do it at the high school instead of having to go to the DMV to do it, so that's that. And then these students went with me to the Carpenters Training Center, so they got to go up in cherry pickers, they were on roofs, they were building scaffolding, they were screwing, what do you call it, sheetrock in. The guy in the middle was doing like a combined space activity, so it was that training center, it's great for these guys, and they all walked away and were just in awe of it. So I think at least 2 of them are going to continue on and get into the pre-apprenticeship program and then apprenticeship once they graduate. So that was a rewarding day for me to see them. And then same thing with the IBEW, the training center in Syracuse. We had 4 kids that went and they cut pipe and they ran wire and smoothed out the inside of the pipe so that the wires would go through without snagging. And they talked about completing junction boxes, and it was a busy day, but they loved it. They got right in there and made short work of whatever they were given to do. So it's just good to see that we're also focusing on the kids that may not go to a 4-year college, that may want to go into an apprenticeship or a training program to do what they want to do. So. And these are some pictures from this year from our future educators. This was at Lanigan early on. What's unique about Lanigan is that they have student teachers there, so our kids get to work with the student teachers as well as their cooperating teacher and and the administrators in the building. So they get to see all different levels in one place. So that was interesting. And then last week, like I said, we were at the junior high with Mr. Kaprowski, and never a dull moment there. The kids had a ball. This was something that I added in. I've already mentioned it a little bit. Some of the beneficial partnerships that we've created. Fulton Savings Bank funds our Work Keys curriculum through a grant every year that we need to re-up like the end of October. So that is something, since I won't be here to do that it will need to be done by someone. And then like I mentioned before, the Oswego County Workforce New York and the Summer Youth Employment paid work experiences. I know we have kids working at the War Memorial and at the Dream Courts and all around the city and the county, actually. So that hopefully will continue in the future as well. And like I mentioned, Oswego County Opportunities with the employment necessities. They work along with On Point for College, who also gives students like clothing for work or special equipment they need for work so that they're prepared and ready to go if they can't pay for it themselves. So good programs, and I'm glad that we're working with them.
Angel, how many kids went through Work Keys this year, roughly, ballpark?
Oh gosh, well, not as many as last year because they have a class. So we went with the sections of the class. There were 3 sections of the class, so 20, 40, 60 there, and then we had the financial math and the career and financial management kids. Any seniors, I pulled those kids in, especially the kids that are on my senior list that don't know what they want to do, and got them and are still getting them through. And working on the 4+1s, we still have a handful of kids that need that to graduate, and that's my focus now, is to get them through it by the end of the year, so they'll be walking the stage as the 4+1. So,
thank you.
I know that was a lot. Any questions about any of that?
No, I just want to say thank you for all you do. I mean, this has grown so much since my kids were in school. Just to see the amount of work that you've put in, and I love how you're using your students now to really help you, and that their leadership is important in the district. So for them to start at such a young age, I mean, this is great. Wow. To see
What I
how
do.
many kids were involved. Now, there was the one slide that said that to keep it smaller for more people to get in. Does it mean that more high school students want to get in? Like one of the comments, it said, keep it smaller. Is it
I
something
don't
about
know.
more people to be involved? Did it mean more students? Is this open to everybody? Like who goes to
It's
the
open to, it's open to everyone.
Okay, so
6 through 12.
6 to 12.
Laura Torschnach did the 6th graders. She brought them to the junior high. She set up arrangements for them to go to the junior high, and they did the interior portion at the junior high. Then they all walked up to the exterior portion at the high school and back and got picked up. So however many 6th graders there are, they were involved. And then the whole junior high came up in groups. And then all of the high school was allowed to come. It's just this time of the year.
It's very busy.
This was when all of the contractors and a lot of people wanted to get it in now because that's when the apprenticeships and things are starting. So that's why we've tried it in the fall before, and it worked. You know, we did little separate evening sessions for the military and for the trades and that sort of thing in the fall, but they suggested that we try it in the spring, and so that's what we did. It seemed to be worthwhile. The weather was beautiful, but you know, like I said, they.
No, that's great. I love this. I hope this continues. And did I hear you say you won't be here? Is that what you said? You won't be there to do?
Yeah.
So I hope that you have somebody under your graduating belt to
after 30 years
wear those shoes that you had. So
it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
For everything.
I was there last year with some 6th graders, and I looked around. They were all participating. I honestly thought 6th grade, 7th grade, you'd have some standing back there just kind of looking. They were all involved. I got to try this. I got to try that. It was. I loved that. Can I do it?
We had to. No, I wanted to do the tractor trailer because my son drives tractor trailer, but I can't drive a car. So,
well, it would have been a simulator, so you would have been okay.
But yeah, we had to limit the 6th graders and 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that were doing the tractor trailer simulation because the union, they were looking for people that within the next year or two would be ready to go. And so we let the kids watch the older kids do it instead of having them sit behind the wheel this time. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's a great extension of the work that we're doing around our early college high schools, and all of those components provides another opportunity for our kids to explore. And goes along with the work that would go along with the portrait as well, so it's really going to work well. Next item on the agenda, just as I put out the last week of school agenda, or schedule for last week of school, went out on Friday to families and staff. 23rd to the 27th will be early dismissals. Will give us the opportunity to not only close 24-25, but also prepare for 25-26, because with the budget, obviously there won't be as many opportunities perhaps to work on things during the summer, so this will give us an opportunity to make last minute tightens, things that we gotta work on, be prepared, plant seeds, whatever we need to do to be prepared for opening. So those went out last week, so I'm just putting that on the record.
And thank you for getting that out so early for our families so they can make arrangements for their students.
Yeah, you're welcome. So that's out there. And then finally, the last item on the agenda this evening is our April financials. Ms. Hooper.
So I will be brief. We're taking a look back at the month of April for the financials, as we always do, look back a month. So comparing our April financials in 24-25 as compared to where we were in 23-24, again, percentage-wise for revenue, we're in a similar spot at 83% of our revenue has been realized. We are expecting our last large state aid payment actually this week, which will be good, you know, going into the final month and a half or so of the fiscal year. And then expenditures as well, very similar percentage-wise to where we were at this point in time last year as well, 74%. In terms of the revenue breakdown, again, our main sources of revenue, the local revenue, again, the majority of that local category is our tax levy, then our state aid, and a small amount of federal money, which comes from Medicaid reimbursements to make up that total 83% that I discussed on the previous slide. The expenditure breakdown, the different categories, again, spending about how we would expect, other than that benefits category, spending a little faster than we would like to see it, which we'll show you on a upcoming slide, and that has been the pattern throughout the year, which we're prepared for, and we know benefits is our area of concern, and the level at which it is putting pressure on our budget. Everything else is spending as we would expect it to, at least through the month of April. Budget projections, again, through the end of April. So this tells us where we would stand in terms of what we have appropriated, what we've spent year to date, what we have encumbered, or in other words, what's spoken for, and what's available. So at the end of April, again, I highlight that employee benefits line because that's the line that doesn't look so good. In other words, it's trending to be overspent. But at the end of April, our unencumbered or available balance was still just under $5 million in the budget. And then when I break it down just to the benefits, and this includes all benefits, retirement, Social Security, different insurances, and of course health insurance, that's where we see that larger area of concern with our health insurance being over budget. And it's been tracking about the same amount, and this is current, this is up to date, not just the end of April, but it's been right around this mark as I've tracked it through the months. So, you know, as we're getting towards the end of May, you know, I'm looking at this, the budget status, you know, almost on a daily basis. So, I'll be speaking with our auditor and, you know, we'll be preparing for how we're going to address this shortfall as we get to the end of the fiscal year, and we'll have a plan for you at one of the June board meetings in terms of addressing this with the use of some of our reserves, different reserves than what we plan on using for the budget next year, but reserves nonetheless. And then we look forward to, you know, a fresh start in the 26th fiscal year with a more robust health insurance line for sure.
Are we still in the process of connecting with all the unions and everybody with the different things we're looking at?
We are, and we've actually got some new ideas in terms of, Mark and I have been talking at length about some other strategies of things we can do within what we've got to work with right now. You know, looking at our current plan, our current broker, you know, what we can do with what we have now, as well as looking to the future and what our other options might be.
Are you at the point where you could send us an email with updates where we are, or probably another couple weeks?
I think within the next couple weeks, you think, Mike?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, we could now, but I think it would be more weeks and be a little bit more productive.
No, that works with me. I just want, I know we were talking about some different things, so if we could get an update in a couple weeks, that'd be great.
Sure.
Any questions?
There will be. Thank you for the update.
Okay. And thank you. That's the conclusion of the superintendent's report. Thank you, Ms. Super.
We're gonna move on to action 4.01, accept the financials. Could somebody move that?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 4.02, to accept Stewart's Shop's donation.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Thank you for your donation. Action 4.03, approve the cafeteria supplies and food bids for the 25-26 school year.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 4.04 is to approve the cooperative purchasing for the 25-26 school year.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 4.05, approve the specialty bid for the 25-26 school year.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 4.06, approve disposal of surplus property.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 5.01 is to approve the Carlton W. Barrett proclamation.
Move it.
Tim, Lori?
Lori.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 5.02 to approve the Committee on Special Education.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 5.03 is to approve the new superintendent of schools.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400.
Congratulations.
And just because they weren't here, I just want to know all of our other 3 board members were in support as well. You know, they couldn't be here tonight. You have our full support.
I did want to say thank you and congratulations, Doug. We welcome you to our team and we're looking very forward to that. Tim, it's funny you say that because I did let Mr. Lawrence know that just because half of his new board wasn't here this evening, to not be worried when he walked in and saw how before he was, so thank you.
Life happens.
Life happens, yes, I did say that too, so. But yes, we look forward to the next adventure with you at the helm.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right. Would somebody be willing to move or batch our personnel 6.01 to 6.09?
Move it. Second.
Lori and Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining, passes 400. All right, gonna move into our board forum this evening, and I'm gonna let Ms. Kroll go ahead and start.
I just want to say, welcome. Welcome. We're glad to have you. They're all gone now, but for the Corporal Barrett presentation, it was seriously, I brought tears to my eyes. It really does. They were the greatest generation, and I'm glad that the kids they're looking at it and they're seeing what it was like, and oh geez. Yes, Mrs. Ferlito, thank you so much. Which I know the kids enjoy that, and I love seeing things like that. I don't usually look at it and think I would like to be young again, because I don't think I would. but I see things like that, and I was like, well, maybe, It's great that they have things like that.
Right, Mr. Crandall.
Lori, if you live your life right, you only have to do it once. I just want to thank everyone for the presentations. Congratulations, Mr. Lawrence. Should be a lot of fun. And that's it.
Okay. Mr. Connors?
Again, congratulations, Mr. Lawrence. We're excited, I'll be sticking around another 3 years to be bothering you to be ready. And again, the students coming up, at points hearing them speak, I kind of just sit there like, how much did they practice this? Like, I don't think this is for real up there, these kids going up. Having heard so many different speakers, I always just remark that we have some great speakers amongst us, and some of them, are younger and younger and younger, so it's just amazing to see all the work they're doing now that'll pay off further down on the line. And then to hear about this career fair and everything And especially the students being involved behind the scenes. I was listening to our student who came up and was talking about being the runner. And I think what's really cool about that is not only seeing all the things, the positions, but realizing that when you think of the event, whether it's the play, whether it's a speaker, whatever it is, it's those people in those roles doing the work that needs to get done that make all that possible, the people behind the scenes. And I think getting to experience that firsthand and getting a peek, quote, behind the curtain is really a great thing for our students to understand all the different things that are out there that we may not realize. Because I can say 10 years, 15 years out from graduating high school, I've learned there are more jobs than I can even imagine. So again, thank you for all your work, Mrs. Ferlito, and again, as one of our board members remarked, since I was in school, it just continues to grow and continue to have more and more opportunities for our students. To you, Brenda.
Thank you. But just bear with me for a few minutes because I do have a few things that I want to kind of point out and thank. First, I do want to also thank all of our voters who came out in support of our budget. We cannot thank you enough for being so supportive to keeping all those wonderful programs and things that we do well here in Fulton in place. So thank you so much. With that said, I'd like to also not only say congratulations to Tim Connors, but Jessica O'Brien, who's been here with us pretty much every meeting since February, will be joining us in July. So you have a lot to look forward to. I hope you're funny because Mr. Crandall always keeps us in stitches. So with that said, Mr. Crandall, we are going to miss you, but there are lots of opportunities and committees for you to continue to join and be part of us.
It's just a year vacation till next election.
Just a year vacation. So, what do we say, 13 years? You've been on for 13, since
12
years?
13,
12 or 13 years, we've lost count. But thank you so much for your service. We appreciate it and you. Mr. Lawrence, again, congratulations and thank you. Just to put out there to the community that we will be doing a meet and greet with Mr. Lawrence coming in June. Alex will be in touch. So look for further details because our PR guy will be putting that out for us. But June 12th looks like the date. I do believe it will be at the library over at the high school. All the other details to be out soon. So we will invite all of our community. So look forward to our first meet and greet with you. What do we have? To take it back a little bit, a couple of weeks ago, May 13th, I heard about the passing of one of our superintendents who actually was superintendent when I was in school, Mr. Rasbach's passing. He was a wonderful educator, very involved in the community. I believe it was wrestling that he was big into. He helped with the wrestling community. He just was a big asset to our community back in the day. So I want to say to our deepest condolences to Mr. Rasbach's family or anybody who worked or knew him. I just didn't want that to go by without being noted. I have a couple more things. Hold on. Bear with me. They're all over the place. We have a lot of great things going on with our students with the end of the year celebrations, but a lot of our kids are out on the sports fields doing great things in sections, right? So our student voice is playing a lacrosse game this evening. So right. Santina is down there, the girls sectionals. Did I see in the paper also that the girls softball team is
They're
also
doing extremely well
very well
this year. Yeah, they're on to the next round.
So that's great. Our boys lacrosse,
Tomorrow
they are
night.
doing fantastic and they're playing tomorrow night. I'm sure there are probably so many others out there, but those are the three that have been like really big that have been crossing paths. I have seen a lot of happy students, happy athletes this week. So let's give them a big shout out, congratulations, and good luck in your next games. I don't know how many of you were out in the wonderful weather Saturday, but it was fantastic to see our bands, our Fulton bands out there performing in the Memorial Day Parade. They sounded fantastic. The vibe was great. So I'm thankful for all the students who volunteered their time in the morning to come out and support and celebrate the community for Memorial Day. So that was great as well. I saw an article in the Valley News this weekend, and we had this group of students in not that long ago, but our Synergy group that did their cleanup at North Bay on the 14th. That was a nice little write-up, so if you guys didn't get to see that or follow along, our students are doing great things. Not only are they doing the gardening and the painting, but they built benches and picnic tables. I don't build benches and picnic tables. So I think that's fantastic what our class of 2028 is doing for our community. So I wanted
That's
to
their
give
seal of civic readiness.
for their seal of civic readiness. I wanted to make sure I did that. Also, our booster burn is coming up. So our athletic group puts on a wonderful fundraiser every year to help raise funds for our athletic team. So the athletic boosters on June 8th, we'll be doing our, I believe this is our 3rd year for the booster burn. So everybody dust off your running shoes, walking shoes. I want to see all of you guys out there. Bring your kids, have your kids' friends. Mr. Henderson, we're going to run. I mean, I'm going to be pushing the stroller this year, so I'm going to be slower. So come on out. We're going to run, raise some money for our athletics. Say what?
I'll be the pace car.
You be the pace car? Perfect, perfect. They have a kids fun run. They have the athlete mile and the 5K run. You don't have to run, you can walk. It's a great event put on by our booster club. Beth Nicholson is the race director. There's a Facebook page out there. From my understanding, if you sign up before the 31st, you're gonna be saving some money. After that, funds go up a little bit. Whether you sign up today or after the 31st, the money goes for a great cause, so please look into that. We talked about that. I have like notes everywhere. The last thing I wanted to just kind of put out there, I know Mr. Palvino will probably be talking about this in the next coming weeks, but I also work in a school district, and the New York State is putting out that wonderful cell phone policy for the next school year. I have gotten a few questions from community members already. I know that you guys have long since been looking at this, but I was a little disappointed to see that we have such a short amount of turnaround time to start to get things put into place. I believe it's like August 1st, very early August, that we have to have, policy and notification out. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Yeah, we've started some work with, I know that they worked with the culture students, or culture group, which is 4th graders and up. They had a good conversation about it. We happened to be meeting soon after the legislation was ratified through the budget. We're going to be sending surveys out to families and staff as well as part of the process. It is a short turnaround. I think it's going to be a living policy. It'll be one of those things when I think we'll build off what we have in place. We've got some good things going on. I think we just need to take that next step. So we'll be working closely with our administrators over the next couple of weeks, as well as those constituent groups. And hopefully I'll leave Mr. Lawrence for the policy on August 1st. And so the committee may have to get together in June into July just for a focused meeting just on those 2 policies, but we'll get something, or those 2, that policy, those 2 meetings if we need to.
And there was the heat index.
On the heat index tomorrow night, the policy committee, by September 1st, we needed to have a policy in place with respect to the heat. And so we have a draft policy that I just been working on, and we will be presenting that to the board policy committee tomorrow evening. Hopefully to you for a first reading at that June 10th meeting.
Just all the things that are coming down the pike towards us. It's good to see that you guys are one step ahead already, and just putting it out there for the community to be aware of what the district is moving towards in the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much for all of that. We are going to put it out there for a second public forum. Is anyone interested in coming and speaking to us about anything? Come on up, Jessica.
Hello, everyone. Just want to say thank you so much for the voters that gave me the vote of confidence to be able to be part of this board starting in July. I'm very excited to be working with you all. And I didn't get to meet, I didn't get to go to last Tuesday's meeting because I had gone to a public forum that was held by Catholic Charities, and it was a forum about anti-bullying and violence that's going on in the community. Good news is that No one specifically from Fulton, besides me, was there. So that was really, really good, but it was kind of concerning to see that people in the community are dealing with some serious issues, and our other school districts are dealing with some very serious issues that are close. And a lot of the parents just said that they were looking for Board of Education and the school to be very proactive. And it's an opportunity that if we want to be involved, we can be. So I gave them my information, and I look forward to being a good member of the board and this community to help keep our community going forward.
Well, it sounds like you already have jump-started on that, because, you just brought something into our attention, and, maybe you're gonna be head spearing that one, Phil.
Maybe.
Spearheading. But thank you so much for bringing that information to us, and we look forward to you joining our board.
Thanks.
All right, we will be moving into a brief executive session. And
You move it?
I'm going to, yes, I was just making sure I didn't miss anything. You want to move that one?
Yep, I'll move
Okay. And in a second?
Sure, second.
Lori, a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful night. Yep. Okay, welcome back. Can I have somebody move item 7004, disciplinary appeal?
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Action 8.01, adjournments.
Move it.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Passes 400. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great evening.